What's going on? Tony Purcell here, and I've been talking a lot about Vegas this week and how I just got back and masterminding with people and all this business stuff. But today I actually want to talk about the other side of Vegas, the gambling, the casinos, the lights, the flashiness and everything. I mean, the exciting part of Vegas, right? So get ready for a cool video today. Super exciting. You know, that's what Vegas is all about. So it was actually my last day in Vegas, and I was headed home, and I had to stop and get gas. So I had gotten right past the strip. It was just a couple miles down. I pull off, go in and get gas, and asked if I could use a restroom before I, continue driving on this road trip. And they said, no, we actually don't have any. Go just right across the street to the casino. Now, again, this wasn't on the strip. It was down a ways. And so I go in there, and it was this really old casino. And it was pretty late at night, about 1, maybe even 2 o'clock in the morning. And I go in there, and it was such a more clear visual of what gambling is really all about. See, the casinos right on the strip, they're big, they're flashy, they're fancy. There's all the perfumes and the potpourri in the air to kind of musk over the smell of the smoke. And it's just exciting. It's fun. There's this whole electric kind of atmosphere to make it look like a really appealing kind of thing. And you tend to, right? I mean, you look at all this stuff and you think, wow, this is really awesome. This is appealing. It looks like a fun thing. It looks like a blast. And it's designed to look that way. However, going into this casino painted a different picture. I think painted the real picture. Because I went in there and it was dirty. And it was dark. And the music was on louder than the other casinos to just kind of drown out the emotion. And it was kind of stinky. And I went in there and there was just such a thick feeling of despair. It was like age had taken away the bright lights, the excitement, the fancy appeal of gambling, and all that was left was the truth, what really is. And I looked around, and I saw a lot of really hopeless people with these sad, depressed, hopeless looks on their face. And they were sitting at the table, or they were sitting in the slot machine, and they were taking their nickels, and they were putting it in, and they were pulling that lever, hoping for something else in life, hoping that something else was going to come and save them, that something else external was going to change their life and give them hope again. But here is what is crazy, is they had lost all hope in themselves. And so they were turning to something outside of themselves. And a lot of people do this. And sometimes in something a little bit less extreme than gambling. But a lot of people have lost hope in themselves, and so they're banking on something else. They're banking on someone else. They have more hope in their boss than they have in themselves. Even though they hate their boss, they can't stand him, and they hate their life going to work every day. They have no hope in themselves. You may have heard me say this before, because I have said this before. Now, see, I'm not against gambling. I'm not against betting. I'm kind of against that kind of gambling. But guess what? Everything in life is a gamble. You realize that? Going to work is a gamble. It may have paid off for you in the past because you've gotten your paycheck. Your business could go under and you could not get that paycheck. It is a gamble to go to work. To get in your car to drive to work. You know how many people die driving to work every single day? Getting in your car and driving is a gamble. Going to college is a gamble. Everything you do is a gamble. But here's the thing, is if you're going to gamble, why not bet on yourself? See, I see all these people. This is where I've mentioned this before. I see so many people who, I don't want to, maybe I'll just get specific. Because you know what? I think it's that stupid. And if this really, really offends you, then I'm sorry. But I've just got to tell you the truth. I see people who invest in this thing called dinar. It's the currency of Iraq. And it literally is worth a tenth of a penny. So 1,000 dinar is worth $1. And people have this hallucination in their mind that if they spend $1,000 in US dollars, they buy $1 million Iraq and take that cash and actually hold it in a safe in the United States, that one day the leaders, the political leaders in the world, I guess, are just going to decide, hey, let's bring Iraq's economy back and let's revalue the dinar and make it worth $1 American. Now, I have my doubts if it ever even was worth $1 because I've seen like a $20,000 dinar bill. And there's no such thing as a $20,000 American bill because that's just way too high. So I have my doubts that it was ever even worth $1 American. But I don't know because I don't study that. But here's what I do study, is that doesn't seem to make sense to me. Because I believe that making money is an exchange of value for value. And if you're expecting to make $1 million, you're going to have to do $1 million worth of value for the world. And if you're expecting it's just going to happen, that you're just going to get lucky, that you're going to put in $5,000 and then just sit around and wait for somebody else to just dump $5 million back in your lap, that to me is like putting a quarter in the slot machine, pulling it, and hoping for $100,000. And it just doesn't happen. And what you have is all these people who sit around, who have lost all hope in themselves, who are just hoping for something else outside of themselves. Now, here's what I believe about gambling, is that everything in life is a gamble. But why not bet on yourself? Why not bet on something that you can actually control instead of hoping that some political leader somewhere is going to revalue that currency, you're going to make $1 million. Why not say, what does it actually take to make $1 million? Do you have any idea how many millionaires there are out there? So big they can't even keep track anymore. There used to be a millionaire list in America, and there is no such thing anymore because it is too big. There's only a billionaire list, and that's getting too big. But here's the thing, guys. Making $1 million, you're capable of that. Every single person who's ever made $1 million made it. They made it. And you have the capacity to do the same. There are those out there who will tell you that people who are millionaires did dishonest things and ripped people off. And sure, there's some of those. But it's a very small percentage compared to the majority of people who made $1 million by figuring out how money works. If you haven't watched those videos, I'll put a link somewhere around this video to watch the How Money Works video. But bottom line is this, you've got to find out a way to create more value for more people if you want to create more money. And sure, sometimes you take a risk. Sometimes it's a bit of a gamble. But guess what? There are some things that you have control over. And so you're betting on yourself. And I'll take that 10 times out of 10. I'd rather bet on myself than somebody else because the moment I bet on somebody else, I'm the victim because I can't control them. But I can control myself. I can control my own results, which is why I do Empower Network, because it is about my results. It is about my personal production. I don't have to hope that my team is going to all of a sudden take off and duplicate. I don't have to hope that the dinar is going to revalue. I don't have to hope that when I pull that lever, thousands of dollars are going to come pulling out. All I have to do is rely upon my own personal production. And that is why it's called the Empower Network, because it empowers you to become a more powerful version of yourself and figure out how to create more value and figure out how to bet on yourself and then live up to that. So bet on yourself, guys, especially right now. I've got this really cool thing in my hand right here. It's called the Pass Kit. I'm going to tell you about this in a couple days, but I've got to tell you, it is the coolest marketing system out there ever to help you market your Empower Network business. It is incredible. Guys, bet on yourself. A $25 bet on yourself to join Empower Network. Now is your time. Come and join me, and let's run together. Let's crush this thing.